producing with Emma Superman, the reinvention of that Zack Snyder is going to direct, and that's for December of 2012. So they've got the pressure on with all the dates and things, and they just announced today Henry Cavill as Superman. Yeah, so it's...
The legacy of Zack Snyder's Superman is a divisive one, to say the least. Some absolutely love him, while many despise his take on the character. Sometimes, I wonder how we all got to this point where speaking your mind about this portrayal can lead to the most heated arguments you've ever had the displeasure of experiencing. Sometimes, I want to go back to a simpler time, a time before the release of Man of Steel, where we all anticipated and speculated on this brand new version of the character. In February of 2010, Christopher Nolan was set to produce a brand new Superman film that would serve as a reboot to the franchise. He would not be the director of the film, but he would be in charge of spearheading its early development, as well as finding a new director in time for a December 2012 release.
Warner Brothers currently owns the rights to Superman until 2013, when they revert back to the estates of the original creators, so chop chop, boys!
By this point, fan trailers would already begin to release, which depicted the movie as dark and gritty, though some believed that Nolan himself would direct the film. By September 2010, Nolan would meet with many directors like Matt Reeves, Zack Snyder, Duncan Jones, Tony Scott, and Guillermo del Toro to discuss helming the movie. By October of that year, Zack Snyder was chosen as the director, which at this point was announced to be titled Superman: The Man of Steel, and Snyder states that he'd work on the movie after he was done Sucker Punch. Snyder was a divisive choice among many fans, as although many loved him, some felt he was a mediocre director who'd bring down the final product.
I don't think this film's gonna work out. I honestly believe that this is gonna be an epic failure. I think this film is gonna be horrible. It's not gonna be very good.
It has been confirmed from Heat Vision that Zack Snyder is gonna be directing the new Superman reboot. Yay!
If you were dying for more information about the movie, you were in luck, as October 2010 would offer some pretty interesting details about the film. You see, according to an article by The Vulture, the script for this upcoming film was actually rushed and considered messy by Warner Brothers. However, because they had to produce the Superman film quickly, they chose Zack Snyder as the director, as he was less likely to complain about the quality of the movie. Another element that was brought up in the article was the supposed plot of the film, which states that the film would explore the journalist Clark Kent traveling the world, conflicted about whether he should become Superman. This article also revealed the fact that General Zod would be the antagonist of the film. Interestingly, an early plot synopsis that sounds very similar to this began circulating online a month later, in November of 2010. Supposedly around this time, a casting call was sent out to many young actors in Hollywood, and this casting call featured the plot of the film. According to the synopsis, the film would explore a young Clark Kent who gets involved in a conflict within West Africa involving two warring tribes. Clark then returns to Smallville to learn what it takes to be a hero. For many Superman fans at the time, this plot sounded very similar to the comic Superman Birthright, which also explored similar ideas about Clark's confliction about his heroism. Some were disappointed by these plot leaks, as it gave the impression that Superman would not fight any major threat in the film, and instead it would be another Superman Returns-esque character study. The plot was interesting, but the fans' thoughts on the movie was mixed at this point. Some felt the film was a disaster in the making, and rumors of the script being messy weren't exactly flattering for the film, while others felt Snyder was the one saving grace for the project and could salvage the story, even if the script was supposedly messy. If 2010 was the era of plot leaks, then 2011 is when production finally kicked into high gear. This was the year in which many castings began taking place. In January, Henry Cavill would be cast as Superman. He wasn't a very known actor at the time, so most fans didn't really have much to say about him. Despite plenty of rumors about who'd play Lois Lane in the film, eventually Amy Adams would be cast in the part. From here on, more casting news would continue to hit the web for the next couple of months as filming of the project was fast approaching. During the wait, fans were off creating various trailers in order to piece together how they felt a Zack Snyder Superman film would be like, with many of these trailers trying to mimic Zack Snyder's stylistic approach to filmmaking. However, at the time, the fan posters were the most unique and visually striking fan-made elements of the film.
I think that, what we want to do is just try and figure out a way to make him relevant, make him modern, make it cool. That's our main focus.
For the next couple of months, fans would await the filming to begin for the project. However, Henry Cavill and Zack Snyder would stay pretty tight-lipped about the production, despite the several public appearances they'd have.
The skies are not just filled with birds or planes in Plano, Illinois, but with movie helicopters as the town is cast as Smallville in the new Superman film.
Finally, filming for Man of Steel would begin in August of 2011 and would continue for the next couple of months. This was very exciting for many fans, of course, but unfortunately, many of the sets would be closed off from public view. So as a result, trying to discern what was happening based on set photos was basically impossible.
The secrecy has left some fans of the comic book icon disappointed.
You can get what you can get, but yeah.
However, the set photos and videos did give fans an idea on the aesthetic and costume designs of the film. In the beginning of August, the Superman costume would be revealed through a production photo, showing us the visual style of the film, but also the suit. The suit wasn't exactly widely loved when it was first shown, with many fans being divisive about its appearance. Some loved it, but others didn't. Fans would get their first look at Man of Steel come Comic-Con 2012 through the form of an official teaser trailer. However, the trailer was exclusive to those who attended the event.
Whoever that man is, good character or bad.
Luckily, the trailer would leak onto the internet, giving us a grainy but good idea on how the film would look. Luckily, the trailer officially came out on July 21st.
Faster than a speeding bullet, it's the new Superman Flight Speeders!
In October of 2012, a series of Superman toy commercials leaked onto the internet. The commercials were produced by Mattel and were clearly developed for Man of Steel. One toy commercial didn't reveal much about the movie. In fact, it seemed completely disconnected from the film entirely. However, the second commercial showcased much more. The commercial revealed aspects of Superman's plot, such as General Zod invading Earth with a robot army and tanks. According to the commercial, Zod would use some kind of spaceship called the Black Zero to attack Superman, though there was no indication on what exactly the Black Zero did.
Oh no! Zod has landed the Black Zero spaceship! Watch out!
From here on, the marketing of the film would be pretty traditional, with even more trailers released over time. The hype for the film, though, was very apparent at the time. In fact, the hype was so large that Warner Brothers began projecting that Man of Steel would be their biggest film of all time, grossing more than their top-earning films like Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings. Perhaps this popularity is what led the US Marines to work closely with Warner Brothers to develop a marketing campaign. It was created as a way to bring awareness to the US Marines, showing how they were brave, strong, and courageous, and how it might be a good fit for you in terms of a career path. This marketing campaign was mostly done through a series of TV commercials that Zack Snyder himself directed. There was also posters released and a website that not only showcased a training routine users could go through, but also some kind of mobile game where players would take on the role of a special military recruit who trains to help Superman in military operations. The rest of the story you know by now. Warner Brothers would continue to release trailers for the film leading up to the release of the movie, which unfortunately didn't perform to their expectations, but was successful enough to kickstart a brand new cinematic universe.